To David Bianchi joining me, high-profile trial lawyer who is America's leading hazing lawyer. David, you mentioned the case of a hazing victim found at the bottom of a gorge. We always hear the big lead up. Turn yourself in 48 hours or else. But it's what happens after that. The perps are either not treated as adults. Of course, we all know juveniles can't be tried as adults. Or they're given light sentences. How often in a case like this, even when there is a death, David Bianchi, do you see a murder charge? Look, I can't hold a gun to your face and pull the trigger, and when you're dead, I go, oh, I just meant to scare him. That's not the letter of the law, David.
No, Nancy, it's not. And to answer your question, how many times have I seen a murder charge where someone dies in hazing? Never. I can tell you never. And in many of the instances, I don't see any charges. I come back to Antonio Cialis at Cornell, 2019, a very carefully orchestrated night of hazing. And the next day, he's found dead at the bottom of a gorge. Not a single criminal charge filed. I reached out to the prosecutor at Thompson County, spoke to the office, laid out all the evidence about why they should bring the charges. They never filed a single charge. And the universities go light on these guys that participate. And it just leads to the same thing over and over again. It doesn't curtail the conduct, and I don't care how many laws you pass or how many seminars they have to go to, it's not enough.
I want you to hear about the case of Danny. Listen.
Danny Santulli is still unable to speak. He has massive brain damage. He's lost his eyesight. He's blind, and he cannot walk.
They got all these pledges to come to the fraternity house. They all had to take off their shirts. They then were all blindfolded. This is all on video. You don't have to trust what I'm telling you. It's all on surveillance video. They then paraded them down into the basement. And down there, they met their pledged dad, and they removed their blindfolds. They were given their bottle, their family bottle of alcohol. Many of them then had the bottle taped to their hand. They then paraded upstairs with the bottle taped to their hand, and then started to drink with the alcohol that was spread out around the house.
Reports, eyewitnesses relate that a funnel was actually shoved into Danny's mouth. Listen.
Wetzer comes along, puts a tube in his mouth with a funnel, pours beer down his throat after he had consumed about half the bottle of alcohol. And approximately 20 minutes later, while Danny is still out in the courtyard with maybe 100 pledges and frat members, you can see Danny start to wobble, and then he collapses. You see him fall backwards over a piece of furniture and onto the ground. They then pick him up. They carry him into the house, and they put him in a TV room where they have couches. And a couple of guys bring him in, and they plop him down on the couch. And he's still alive. He's moving around, but you can tell he's in distress.
And more.
So now Danny is totally left alone. He's now flat on the couch. He slides off the couch with his face planted on the floor and his feet on the couch. And he's not moving at all. And they see that he's unresponsive on the couch, and they think, oh my God, maybe he's dead. And they go to pick him up. And he's having a hard time picking Danny up, so they get some big guy to pick him up. And they scoop him up off the couch, and they're not going to call 911. And they're holding him upside down, if you can picture such a thing. And as they're getting to the exit door, they drop him on his head. And then they have to get him back up again, and they carry him outside, put him in the car. He's now technically dead. They get him over to the hospital, to the ER. Somebody comes running out from the ER. They do CPR, and they restart his heart.
Oh, my stars, does it never end? David Bianchi, what happened to Danny?
Danny Santulli at the University of Missouri is the worst fraternity hazing injury where the victim lived in the history of the United States. You cannot be more seriously injured than the injuries that Danny has. He is alive today, being taken care of by his parents. That's their choice in their home. Again, their choice. And his condition is unchanged today. He still is blind, can't walk, can't speak, will never be able to take care of himself, all because he went through a hazing incident It's been repeated hundreds of times around the United States over many years, the passing of the family bottle of alcohol. And every time it happens, everybody says, we're going to make sure this never happens again. And it does happen again because we're not doing the right things to stop it.